I'm Eric, and I did my report on sponges. So, sponges came from the Precambrian time era, and they evolved around 500 million years ago. Some types of sponges are the vase sponge, the purple tube sponge, and the red tree sponge. Alright, so some general information about sponges is they're one of the simplest multicellular organisms, and there's over 9,000 species of sponges. Also, they come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors. Almost all the cells in a sponge are unspecialized, and adult sponges are sessile, meaning that they cannot move. The body of a sponge has a jelly-like material called the messyl, which is surrounded by two thin layers of cells. The first outer layer of cells has pores in it that let water through, and the inner layer contains a type of cell called the collar cell, which has flagella on it, and the flagella helps push water through the sponge. A cell gets nutrition when water is pushed through the sponge with the flagella, and the water enters the sponge through the osculum, which is the top of the sponge. When the flagella pushes the water through the sponge, the collar cells make a mucus, which traps nutrients and bacteria. And once they do this, a type of cell called the amcambiote cell comes and picks up the nutrients from the collar cells and transports it around the sponge. So, some environmental adaptations that a sponge has is it has the ability to live in a freshwater environment, but most sponges live in a saltwater environment. And also it has the ability to have different skeleton types to help them live in hard sediment or soft sediment, and they have different colors to help protect against the UV rays from the sun. This impact that sponges have on humans is some of the chemicals that are released by sponges are being researched by scientists to help fight bacteria, and also they can help filter water. They can help the environment by filtering the water around them and by taking out the ammonia and turning it into useful nitrogen. So sponges can replicate either sexually or asexually, and when they produce sexually, they release a sperm cell that floats in the water until it's picked up by another sponge, and then they reproduce. And when it reproduces asexually, it uses a type of reproducing called budding, which is when they push new sponge cells into vesicles, and they are released into the water when the parent sponge dies, and then new sponges grow. So sponges can be put into 3 different groups depending on their structure. The first group is the Calcara group, and is the most primitive group. They have a single nucleus and a single external membrane. Their body is made up of spicules, which consist of calcium carbonate, and they're more abundant in nearshore shallow water settings. The second group is glass sponges, and their body consists of 4 to 6 pointed spicules, and they can be found in depths of 450 to 900 meters. Their body is symmetrical, and they have a large central opening, and this group does not have the ability to contract like the other sponges do. The last group is called the demo sponges, and they're the largest of the 3 groups. They're made up of spicules consisting of fibers and protein, and 90% of all sponges are in this group. I did my featured organism on the yellow sponge, and the yellow sponge can be found in the Caribbean or Florida and the Gulf. You can find it in ranges of 4 to 30 meters, and it can grow up to 3 feet. Also, it has a hollow chimney-like body and feeds on bacteria and plankton. Alright, thanks.